All right, y'all. So I want to talk to you guys about how to get over something, how to get over anything. You can use this method to get over somebody, to get over any kind of difficulty, right? Any kind of difficulties, because it doesn't really matter what the difficulty is, because the principle, and what I'm about to tell you, the principle is universal. It's ecumenical, which simply means universal. It's all encompassing. It can be applied to any and everything. So let's say you're having a hard time getting over a breakup, a divorce, a financial loss. You know, you feel discouraged because you made a bad investment, right? You invest and it didn't work out. Things didn't turn out too well. Actually, it ruined you financially, whatever, you know. So how do you bounce back from that? That's what this is about. How to bounce back. So here's some of the methods I've found to be useful and practical in my own life. Let's start with some of the emotions you're going to go through, especially as a man. If you're going through like a financial, a divorce where you lost a house, property, material, whatever the case may be. First and foremost, Joel chapter 2, verses 25, I believe, says that I will restore to you the years that the cankerworm has eaten, right? The locust has eaten. It just simply means that the things that you've lost, God will give it back to you. But before God gives it back to you, there's something you got to do. And this is that something. And it's not, first of all, it's not going to be easy. It's not easy. Anyone who tells you it's easy, walk away. Just walk away. It's nothing easy about what we're going to talk about in this video here. It requires a tremendous amount of self-discipline on your part. It requires a tremendous amount of self-control, which is the same thing as self-discipline. It requires a tremendous amount of intestinal fortitude, meaning gumption, courage. You're going to have to dig deep. You're going to have to do a lot of soul searching. You're going to have to reach a place within. Nothing is outside of you, so it's within. You're going to have to find a place within you where it's your safe space. And I'm going to explain what I mean by a safe space within you. You're going to have to cultivate a safe space within you. You're going to have to prepare, same word as cultivate, synonymous for cultivate, a safe space. And that safe space has to be within you. And what I mean by that is this. You will have a volley, that's the perfect word, a volley of negative thoughts. You will have a constant, unyielding, unrelenting volley of negative thoughts. Negative thoughts are going to ransack your mind. You are going to, so because you will have such a psychological and mental atmosphere of internal mental agony, you're going to have a mental agony. I cannot explain it and say it any less. I cannot mitigate it, sweet or sugarcoat it. I have to give it to you raw. You will go through mental agony. You will have mental torment. The word torment, the first several letters is tor, and the last is ment, tor and ment. Ment in the Latin is mens rea. It means anything pertaining to your mind. Torment, tor is the past participle of tear. He tore the book. Past participle of the word tear. To tear means to separate, to rip apart. So the word torment means to tore, past participle of tear, ment means mind, tear the mind. Torment means tearing, ripping, separating, dismantling of the mind. So when you are tormented, you're tearing at your mind. The mind is tearing at itself and tearing at you, the I, which is the soul within. So these are some of the things that's going to happen. Now, each torment, each tearing, each volley of negative thinking will be unique to each individual's obstacle, It will be unique to your challenge. It will be unique to your journey. It will be unique to your conditioning and molding. So depending on what your situation is, the volley, the continuous negative thoughts that's going to attack and tear at your mind will be unique to whatever your situation is. So I want to talk about, so now I want to explain to you guys in principle, what is this principle that I think will be useful for you. I use the word think because I'm not God, and I'm not beyond reproach. I am not any better than anyone out here. No one out here is better than me, but I'm no better than anyone out here, and I am subject to everything. I am subjected, and I am not exempt from any of the trials that we all face, the human condition. So here it is. The first thing you need to do is this. Identify your hauntings. Your hauntings, the things that are tormenting your mind, the things that are troubling your peace, the things that keep you up at night, the things that worries you. Identify these things. Identify them. If you have to write them down, write them down. I'm more of a mental kind of person, so I just I work things out in my mind. Some people need to write it out. There's no problem with that. Write down and identify the things that troubles you, and itemize them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be. Write them out, but identify them. The point is to identify. I can't stress that enough. Identify whatever it is that's troubling you. What's worrying you? What's stressing you out? Identify it. If it's financial, identify it. If it's emotional, identify it. If it's a broken heart, identify it. If it's a vengeance, you want to get back at somebody, identify it. That would fall in the lines of anger. Identify it. If it's fear, whatever it is, identify. Once you identify it, now you're aware. This is now, see, once you identify, something happens. It's a phenomenon. I can't really explain it, but the phenomenon is once you identify it, you begin to expand your conscious awareness. Meaning you start to become aware, self-aware, how it's impacting you, how it's affecting you, and you start to have, now there's a dialogue that begins within you, where you start to unconsciously reason and rationalize what you're experiencing, what you're identifying, right? And it doesn't happen all at once. It happens successively or successionally over a period of time. Once you identify the expansion of your consciousness, your awareness becomes more expanded, broaden the horizons. And the more you expand your awareness of what you identify, then solutions starts to come to what it is that you have identified. Now you start to see things differently. You start to see solutions instead of just the problem that you have identified. What you have identified, you now start to see solutions to the identification of that which you've identified. Solution starts to come to you. Solutions comes like this in the form of perspective, right? Because perspective will come. Solution will come in the form of a perspective, meaning your dynamic, your paradigm shifts. Your paradigm is your pattern of thinking, how you are predisposed to think, how you view the world, your mind frame, the framework of your mind, what frames the frame reference of your mind of how you view the world begins to shift. So now that's a solution. Why? Because you start to see that what you've identified, the situation, the problem, you start to see it differently. And the way you see things changes reality. It's called observer effect. So the way you see things now starts to change the reality. But the reality that's being changed is not the reality in the situation itself. It's the reality of your cells. It's the reality of your biology. It's the reality of your central nervous system. You begin to shift your emotional chemistry. Because your emotional chemistry is reacting to the situation. And if the situation is a negative, like I said, a divorce, a financial ruin, then your vibration which is your cells. Your cells are vibrating uh, in conjunction with that negative situation, why you feel. So if the situation is a negative, fearful, dangerous, harmful situation, and you're now, it's called resonance. If you study physics, it's called resonance. If you're now resonating, meaning the vibration of your cells is in harmony with the vibration of the situation, if it's a divorce, if it's a bankruptcy, if you lost money in the stock market, these are all negative, low frequency vibrational events that's going on that you're experiencing. What's happening now is your cells are starting to have resonance with those situations. So now you're vibrating, right? And when I say vibrating, it just simply means you're being put in a mood. You're being molded based on that situation you're experiencing. So now all your central system, your CNS, all the motor, your motor mechanics, all your nerves is in conjunction, it's in harmony, it's called resonance. And you now are feeling the way you feel, which is in tandem or in conjunction with the said situation, the divorce, the bankruptcy, the stock market, whatever. You're losing money in the stock market, whatever. So when you shift like I said, once you identify, step one, identify a phenomenon occurs where you become more aware of the situation. Your awareness shows up solutions in the forms of perspective. You no longer see the situation as a negative. You no longer see it as a loss. You see it as a gain. You no longer see it as a negative. You see it as a positive. You no longer see it as bad. You see it as good. And if none of those things, if you don't shift seeing it from bad to good, negative to positive, etc., you will see it not as harmful, but rather as an opportunity to grow. And you accept that now. So step two is now acceptance. You identify, then you accept. Right? You have to accept the situation. We see the reason why we feel the way we feel. Right? And feeling is everything. How you feel is how you will operate in the world. It's how you will move out in the world. It's how things will manifest in your life. It's all about how you're feeling. Because your feeling has, feelings are emotions. The first letter in emotions is E. And the letter E stands for energy. Energy plus M-O-T-I-O-N, emotion. So emotions are energy in motion. So how you feel, emotion, is what you're broadcasting. Remember, we're all of us are transmitters. Every human being is nothing more, nothing less than a walking transmitter, right? We're all in transmitter and receivers. So how you feel, you're emitting, you're broadcasting how you feel. And that broadcasting, that transmitting is something called the ether, which you don't see it. But the ether is basically, there's a word called quantum or quanta, or another word is infinitesimal, which simply means the smallest unit of measure. I'll say it again, it's the smallest metric. It's the most smallest amount of matter or metric or meter. And so when you're vibrating and I said you're transmitting, you're actually sending out code. And it's called the ether. It's a substance, an invisible substance. You can't see it, but the ether is all around us. That's where you get the word Ethernet or internet, right? It's why phones can make phone calls. It's why computers can email and text. And so they use the ether. And the ether is all around us and in us. It goes in us. We absorb it. We take it in. We transmit it. We receive it, etc. So your vibration, your emotions are transmitted. So how you feel is being transmitted into the ether, and the ether, which is an invisible substance that's code, will manifest based off how you're feeling. So feeling is everything. Is everything. So like I said, you accept, right? We're at acceptance. You identify, you accept it as okay, it is what it is. Here I am. Here I am. Right? This is where I am. No matter what, this is it. This is where I am. So you're accepting it, and you're saying I'm okay with it. So you have to accept and be okay with the situation, the loss, because no one is. Let's be honest. None of us are dissatisfied with winning. We're talking about when you lose. People are not committing suicide because they won. People are committing suicide because they lost. It's the L's in life that makes people kill themselves or make people bitter, angry, disgruntled, whatever the case may be, all manner of evil. It's the L's. No one, you'll never ever see anybody out here, jumping off of a bridge because they won the lottery. And I'm being facetious, but you get my point. So, acceptance, right? You have to accept. And that's a very tough thing to do sometimes, especially as a man. You got ego, you got pride, you got a lot of these things that's in your way. But you have to accept your situation, accept your loss, accept that she doesn't want you, accept that she cheated on you with your best friend, accept that your kid died. It's the toughest. I told you in the very beginning of this video that it's tough. It's not easy. Never said it was easy. But it is doable, and it is feasible, and it is practical. So once you identify, you accept, here's the most of the three. These are 3 parts process. This is number 3, which is the most important. This, to me personally, is the most important part of the process. It is the most, by far the most. I can't stress it enough. You get this part down, you won. And this is the hardest part, by the way. They're all hard, but this is the pinnacle of hard. This is the top of the top of the top. The apogee, or however you say, A-P-O-G-E-E. Apogee, I believe. It's the highest point. But here's the point. Here's the hardest part. You have, after identifying, accepting, you have to release it with love. That's some tough stuff. That's some very tough stuff. You have to release it with love. That's probably the hardest part. You have to release it with love. Someone betrayed you, right? Your best friend betrayed you and slept with your girl. You want to kill him and the girl. You want whatever. How do you release that? And then not only release it, but with love. Well, this is what I mean. And I'm going to wrap it up here. Whatever you are seeing, whatever you are experiencing, whatever you have identified, hold that image, as painful as it may be, the image itself. And you're going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel very uncomfortable. But hold the image in your mind, see it in your mind. Close your eyes if you must, and see it. See the hottest part of the fire. See the most intense part of the battle that keeps you up at night, that stresses you out, that have you popping anxiety pills and going to a therapist, and you have to lay on the couch and your insurance won't cover it. Like, see the most intense part of your battle, and it's unique to every individual. And when you see it and you have it vividly in your mind, and you might have to do this a number of times. You might have to do this for weeks, days, months, years, whatever. But see it in your mind. And then just say, I release you with love. I'll let you go with love. With love, I'll let you go. Yeah, I know it hurts. I know that you betrayed. I know that it did it. I know and then talk to you. Internally have a dialogue with yourself. I have every right to be angry. I'm telling you how the internal dialogue sounds. I have every right to be upset. I have every right to want to hurt somebody. I have every right to want to do this. Acknowledge it all. Let's be adults here. We get some, we're talking raw anger, raw emotion that people feel. I'm talking to real folks. I have every right to want to go do this. I release you with love. I let it go with love. You have to put love at the end of it. You can't just say, I let you go, I release it. You have to release it with love. Why with love? Because the Bible says God is love. God is love. Love is the most powerful, the most potent force in the universe, irregardless of how it appears to be, irregardless of all the evils you see around you, irregardless of all the backstabbings, betrayals, the cheating, the deceptions, the duplicity, the subterfuge, irregardless of it all, love is still the most potent, most powerful force. It's the most powerful weaponry in your arsenal. So when you identify and accept, you have to say, I release you with love. I release you in the spirit of love. love. I release it in the spirit of love. And let love flow. Let love flow. Right? Look at the pain within yourself and just say, I release you in love. Look at your own inner dialogue and your own hauntings and your own self-talk. Listen to your self-talk. Y'all know you know your self-talk. All the negative things you tell yourself about the situation. All the negative kooky conversations you have going on in the back of your mind. Listen to it. And then just, I release you with love. And I promise you. Well, let me recant that because I can't promise you nothing. A promise is a comfort to a fool. But what I can say is this. As sure as there's a God that lives, you'll be all right. Till next time. Peace.